Well, in honor of in honor of cuffing season officially starting, I think this video is very appropriate, significant, etc., etc. But I want to put together a little list, quick list, for all my people that's getting ready to shack up, cuff up, and all of that stuff for this holiday season. So this video is to highlight some toxic traits that you may or may not notice in your potential choice or your potential person for this cuffing season, and what you can do, either fight or let go. So, the first toxic relationship trait that we're going to get into is called emotional extremism. So now, what is emotional extremism? Well, basically, this is where a person has very extreme emotions. Clearly, the person could be very cold and callous or overly sensitive and emotional. Everything offends them. In either case, you don't want to experience a situation like this. Why? Because emotional extremism is very toxic in a relationship. It doesn't allow you to communicate with the person effectively and efficiently. It's not really a pleasure to be around anybody, if whether you're in a relationship or you're just chilling with somebody. You don't want to be around the emotional extremes, or bipolarness, if you will. What should you do when you're dealing with a person with emotional extremism? Maybe talk to the person, hopefully get an understanding as to why they say what they say or why they react the way that they do. Whether they are affectionate or not, why they're always afraid, scared, etc., etc. So when you have a better idea, you can find a way and learn how to be more accommodating to them, I guess you could say. But if it's somebody that it's a potential, if you could find out these traits and these characteristics of that person, you might be able to get out of Dodge in the nick of time. So pay attention to that. The second toxic trait that we're dealing with is called unhealthy jealousy. Now, many experts say that jealousy is something that couples should exhibit together, but some people do not believe it, as they expect their partner to have that sense of security and safety, I guess you could say, in the relationship. Let's be honest, what is a relationship without a little jealous spice to it? You know, just put the little jealous spice right there. On the contrary, unhealthy jealousy can lead to fighting, arguing. It could also lead to lack of trust. Because if your potential spouse or your partner is jealous, they're not going to trust you very much, which is going to lead to arguments. You're not going to even really want to tell them certain things because you don't trust how they're going to react. So it leads to a lot of problematic situations. If you notice that your mate has a lot of jealous tendencies or is a little bit over the top with the jealousy, you might want to rethink it, unless you want to be featured in an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Trust me, it's happened plenty of times. Number 3, the if-then mentality. This is where the person thinks, I'll do this for you if you treat me this way, or if you do this for me, or if you give me this, then I can be loving to you. It's a very conditional thing. It's a very unfair thing, because you're making what you do for someone dependent on what they do for you. It's like a tit for tat almost. It's kind of a passive aggressive style, and it can be very manipulative in relationships. Love as a whole is supposed to be about giving. That's the prime mode or goal in love, is to give. And if love is supposed to be about giving, then why would someone make a precursor to giving love? We all have done it, we all go through it, and we all experience it at some time or another, but you can't have this if-then mentality, because it becomes very toxic in a relationship. It makes someone feel like all they're doing is doing things for you because you're going to do things for them in return, or whatever the case may be. So it's a very toxic pattern. You should never base what you do for someone based on what they've done for you. It takes away that genuine feeling to it. Number 4, poor communication skills. Now, this is one of the fundamental elements of a relationship. That would be communications. When a person can't communicate their thoughts or feelings or their ideas to their partner, they're essentially building up a wall that will have a drastic effect in the later stages of the relationship when intimacy is needed. Communicating helps understand what you're going through. It helps get a better It actually sometimes even helps create a bond between someone. When you don't really understand what they're going through, or you don't understand how they are, and they're able to communicate that to you, you kind of get closer, like, oh, now I understand why you do this, or now I understand why you act like that. And when you don't have it, it kind of makes it very difficult to understand, because then you have to assume, you have to put the pieces together. You could learn some of the barriers to communications. It would be very helpful. I'm going to pop a video up here about the 5 barriers to communications. And the last, and this is probably the most important thing, or the most toxic relationship trait that one may exhibit: trauma effects. Now, trauma, or unresolved trauma, better put, has been the cause of most frictions in relationships. When you think about the last argument you were in with someone, is it really about them and the argument that you're having, or it's something deeper that you're fighting? Are you fighting abandonment issues and you're upset at your mate for not calling you back or for leaving you? Are you insecure about your mate because you've been cheated on in the past, or because you've been patternized to feel like you're not good enough? So you create these melodramas with your mate in order to reenact that same feeling of not being good enough. And a lot of us, probably all of us, have traumas that we haven't healed from yet. There are the telltale signs of trauma of people that have been abused, neglected, abandoned, etc. So when you're dealing with somebody who's been abused, you can tell that they've been abused the way that they clam up. You can tell. When you're dealing with somebody that's been neglected, the same thing, abandoned, all of these things. You can tell certain things are going to act a certain way. And you're like, why are they acting like that? I didn't do anything to them. These are residual trauma experiences. These are residual traumatic experiences from childhood and from adulthood. The way to deal with it is to accept it, is accept that we have trauma, accept that it's the past, let it go, and be responsible for yourself in the here and now. You are responsible for your feelings and your emotions and the things that you say. You cannot make someone be in charge of how you feel. So if you're with a mate and you see that they seem to come with a lot of baggage or a lot of drama, so to speak, you might want to rethink dealing with them. Well, those were the 5 things that I came up with that, they're very toxic in relationships. I'm sure that there's many more toxic relationship traits, but I just wanted to focus on these 5 for now. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cinematics Media. Please subscribe to my music channel, Cinematics Music, IG, Cinematics Media, hashtag Cinematics Photography, all of the things included. Other than that, I'll see you soon. Stay cuffing, keep your eyes out, eyes on the prize. Until next time.
She making it shake like she moving the ground. Hold it, hold it, hold it down.